tackle shed, and I'm just going to do a quick rig tie. Now, I've resisted doing loads of rig ties while we're doing this, going through this coronavirus thing, but I did promise in one of my earlier videos that I would show you what I call the Versatility Rig. It's just something I was sitting on the beach thinking about and sort of came up with. I'm sure it has other names. I'm sure that you'll see this and go, oh, that's just this, or it's a variation on that. I'm sure it is, but to me it's a Versatility Rig. And the reason I call it the Versatility Rig is that this rig, the rig body, can stay on your line, and you can tie a number of different combinations of paternoster, single hook, double hook, loop rig, all using the same rig body. So essentially it is what I call the double pulley Versatility Rig. So let's have a look at it. The base body of the Versatility Rig. So rule of thumb, for every ounce of lead you're casting, you should have a 10-pound breaking strain. So it's a length of 50 pounds line, swivel on one end, a bead, a pulley, let's say a length of line, another pulley, another bead, another swivel, and that's it, simple as. Okay, so I'll just show you how I tied that. We'll do that in quick time, and then we'll get on to the next stage of this. You're going to measure from the tip of your nose to the tip of your fingers, and that way you're always getting roughly about the same length of lines when you're working things out. So here we go, length of grease weasel. First thing that we're going to tie onto there is a swivel. Now you can choose which swivels you want to use here, but I tend to use these size 8 swivels, which are about 195 pound breaking strain, which is more than anything that we're likely to encounter, certainly more than I can cast. But I like them because they are slightly larger eye, so when we have things hooking into them and what have you, it's easier to do, especially when you've got cold wet fingers on a cold wet night. And there he is, that is it, that's the body. Alright, 2 pulleys, 2 beads, 2 swivels. And when we come to use this, one of those pulleys is going to attach to our main line. So let's put it up onto the board here so you can see that. Onto the main line. And the second pulley is going to attach to the weight. And so we'll get a weight and we'll hang a weight from that. There has to be some sort of bait clip to use with this. So I'm using splashdowns, but there's no reason why you can't use a rotor rig or an imp or anything else, whatever floats your boat really with regard to that. That clips into the second pulley. Simple as that. And that's it. And as you can see, you've got 2 swivels now, one swivel at the bottom there, so you're going to have a hook or a bait on a snood that's really close to hard on the bottom, and then you're going to have your second snood up higher if you decide to go for the second snood. But that's the point of this Versatility Rig. You don't have to have 2 snoods on there, so you can have a single snood at the bottom or a single snood at the top, or 2 snoods. Okay, and we'll look at that and how we rig those up in a second. Right, now the beauty of this is that this can be pulled down and clipped in place like that, or that can be pulled up and clipped into place. So we have a number of different things that we can do. So let's have a look at at some of those. So the first thing is we can look at the first hook link, and the first way that we would fish this is a single hard on the bottom long flowing trace. So let's tie one of those. Right, so I'm calling this a Versatility Rig because it's all in components, so you can swap and change components around as much as you like. So we'll use a circle hook. Important thing to note is that the hook snood, the final length of this hook snood, needs to be on fairly substantial line. It needs to be same breaking strain as your shot leader or your rig body, because it's actually this last little link of line is what's supporting the weight on the cast. And so I would use fluorocarbon line because it's almost invisible underwater, and it has that little bit more stiffness, so actually it helps it sort of spring out as well. So we want a length of that. Now whatever we tie, it wants to be half the length, less than half the length of this. So we'll have a fairly short snood, or what was that, about 10 inches. Clip that off. One end we'll attach a swivel. This time I'm using a 50-pound breaking strain swivel. Snip off that snood, sorry, snip off that tag end, and then we'll do a slightly different knot for this. We'll do a loop knot on this. So the first thing we'll do is a little overhand knot. Through the eye, pull this loop down so it's against the eye, but with enough to go through the way it came out. Go around the line 3 times, once, twice, 3 times, back through that eye the way it came out, and then pull both ends to pull that knot down tight, and then pull on the hook just to tighten up everything there. And so that's on a non-slip loop knot. Beauty of that means is the hook can move around. Don't have to do that. You could do a blood knot, or you could do a free twist grenade. I just thought we'd throw in a loop knot while we're at it. So that's the final part of the snood. We're going to put one of these kiddies on there. Well, you could actually, rather than have a cascade swivel there, but I find cascade swivels a little bit fiddly. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to clip this. We're going to adjust one of these. These are breakaway clips, Gemini breakaway clips, and all I've done is I've just adjusted it slightly. I put a little bit more of a bend in it, so it's a little bit more hook-like, just to stop it dropping out when you don't want it to. And we'll snap that into place. So your hook can now clip in to the breakaway. Let's turn the camera so we've got that, so we can see that on the camera. So the hook is clipped into the splashdown like that, so that's not going anywhere. And we can pull this down, this part of the pulley down. We can pull this down, and that clips into there. Now obviously it's not attached to anything at the moment, so we want a flow-in trace. So we want a trace that's going to run from here to there, that eye. So again, we can do this as components. We can use these little link clips on either end of a piece of line, and the line can be anything, any length you like, as long as it's longer than that. So and actually this doesn't have to be heavy duty line. We're going to use some cheap monofil here. This is old 50-pound class Tony's tackle monofil, but I like the idea that it's got clips all over the place, so that you can clip things in and out. So if you suddenly decide you want to use a longer trace or a shorter trace, then you can. So save a bit of time. We're just going to do blood knots in here. I quite like a blood knot as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Put another one on the other end. The beauty of these try and tackle links is they've got a little recess there for the line to lie in, so when it cinches down, it's locked in place into that little groove, which is very nice, but it helps protect the knot, protect the line, etc, etc. Bit of saliva. Get rid of that tag end. So here's your long flowing trace. So as I say, that could be any length really, and all we're going to do is we're going to clip one end into this swivel, and look at how beautiful this is all holding together. You can imagine if you're doing off the ground cast or something like that, it's all staying intact, it's not coming undone. Got your hook, you've got this all holding the bait nicely clipped in behind the splash down there. This hits the water, pings off there, and you're instantly fishing out on a nice flowing trace. Yeah. Now, as I say, this could be just, you could just do this with a cascade swivel, so you don't need to have all these components. If you wanted to, you could just have something like that tied between the flowing trace and the hook length, but I do find these a little bit fiddly. So let's put it back together again so we catch that again. So we clip our bait in onto the bait clip. That's going nowhere now until it hits the water. Hold this up here, bring this down, clip it in place on there, and away you go. Right, and as I say, this splashes down, this splashes, hits the water, splash down, ping, releases the hook, brings down the house and releases your flowing trace. Now that's quite a common rig, loop rig, Portsmouth root loop rig. I've heard it called a sea hunter rig, various other things, but essentially it's just a loop rig. All right. Now what makes this versatile is that we can tie another snood on it. So we can put a snood, and as long as it isn't longer than that, okay, we can have a second snood on it, so it becomes a two hook paternoster. So let's get another bit of this cheap old Tony's line, which is well past its sell by date, and we'll put a hook on the end of that. As I say, this hook snood has got to be as strong as or stronger than your shock leader and the rig body. If there's a downside to this, that is it. You can't be using really finessed light lines on this. Just going to use a blood knot on this time, saving time. Okay, it wants to be, doesn't want to be much longer than that. So here's a second dropper there. Because it's on a clip, we just clip it into the swivel. So you've got a second hook now, second dropper, and the way this works, same idea, but instead of it clipping into that eye, we're going to clip it into the clip. So the hook goes into your splashdown. So this is a really good bait clip which holds everything in place, and we've got this second hook round there that can hook into there. And so it's the same idea, but instead of the swivel at the top coming all the way down, now it's the hook with your next baited hook into this bait clip, clip, or whatever you like to call it. So you've got a nice big flowing trace there, or you can have a short trace. It doesn't have to be so long. All right, as long as it is that length from there to there. Okay, as long as this flowing trace part is longer than that gap there. All right, that's it. So you can have quite a short snood if you like. And the same thing happens again. All right, you cast out, it pings in, and straight away you've got two hooks now free in the tide. So there you have it. So if you're wanting to fish like a drop shot version where the snood is up off the bottom flowing in the tide, okay, you can use the same pulley thing, but it's the other pulley pulling down. So we'll lose this one off there, lose this there. So you're fishing like that, cast out, that pings off, and now you've got your bait quite, you know, up off the bottom flowing around in the tide. And you haven't had to change this over once. And of course on your tripod you have set up a number of these snoods baited, ready to go. So as you bring in, when you bring in, because you've got a fish on or it's been out for a while, you can slot one or both of the hook snoods. Don't have to swap both of them. If one of them's come back and the bait's intact, you don't need to actually change it. You only have to change one of the snoods over. And that's it, and this stays on your rig the whole time, stays out on the end of your rod the whole time. So there we have it, the versatile 2-pulley rig, or the 2-pulley versatile rig. And I'm sure there's loads of other things that you can do with it. Haven't really had a chance to really give it a good go and see what other possibilities there are, but yeah, I like it. So there we have it, the 2-pulley versatile rig. I think you'll agree there's lots of potential different ways that we can use this. Yeah, as I say, the only thing you have got to watch out for is that hook snood has to be as strong as the rig body or as strong as the shock leader. Because otherwise what you'll do, and I have done this, is you cast out, you sit there fishing for quite a while. When you're winding, there's no hooks on the end because they snapped off on the lead, on the cast. Yep, so good bit of kit. Right, well, there is some rumblings that maybe the lockdown is going to start to relax, and there's every chance that we're going to get fishing. I'm assuming it will be on the beach. I'm assuming that it'll probably be at night, but who knows. So hopefully the next video will be me fishing. I've already started to get my little boat sorted out so that I can go trolling and what have you. I think that might be a little way off yet, but that's certainly in the cards for this summer. But I do fancy a couple of sessions on the beach. Don't know, it's kind of that bad time of the year now. The May rot will be starting to show up now, I guess. I don't know if the place is still there. Might start getting some smooth hounds coming in, so it'll be a catch it and see, but definitely get down that beach. Thanks very much. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe, press the bell, press the like button, leave me a comment, all of those good things, and share. Tight lines.